The deepest parts of the ocean inevitably hold creepy and mysterious secrets. Even most of the creatures that live there, in eternal darkness, look like characters from science fiction movies. Let's dive in together right now to uncover the terrifying and beautiful discoveries in the deepest place of the world's ocean. Let's begin with the most inexplicable incident. When scientists first heard this strange noise coming from the depths of the Mariana Trench, they were a little frightened. How could a metallic scraping sound exist in such a place? It resembled the sound made by port cranes swaying in the wind. The signal was first captured in 2016 by an autonomous vessel navigating the ultra-deep waters of the Mariana Trench. It also sounded like a low-frequency moan, usually associated with whales, but this specific sound had never been heard before. While it was attributed to whales, scientists nevertheless tried to identify it. They recalled that back in 1997, the United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration detected a high-amplitude infrasound beneath the water's surface. It was so powerful that it was heard over a distance of more than 3,000 miles. At the time, the source of this sound remained a complete mystery for many years. Initially, investigators suggested that the sound might have been produced by some kind of marine animals, although, frankly, such a loud signal would have to come from a creature the size of an island. Naturally, this disturbed everyone, to say the least. Later, this idea was replaced by a more mundane explanation, which remains the accepted theory today, that the sound resulted from the movement of glaciers or the fall of a large iceberg somewhere far away. Perhaps you have some knowledge or guesses about this. Do not hesitate to share them with us in the comments. Let's explore the animal world of the deepest place on Earth, starting with the simplest creatures that have grown to impressive sizes here. Back in 2011, during an expedition to the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean, scientists discovered several eerie giant amoebas in the depths. They are called xenophyophores, and they are the largest single-celled organisms in nature. But they have a number of other distinctive features. For instance, their cells contain large amounts of lead, mercury, and uranium, heavy metals that are extremely toxic to other living beings. Researchers used all kinds of new technologies to study these previously unseen creatures. They were so large that they reached up to 10 centimeters in size. Can you imagine a cell of such a size? Scientists declared these to be the largest individual cells that exist anywhere, at least as far as is known today. These creatures were discovered as deep as 11,000 meters below the ocean's surface, in the deepest part of the Mariana Trench. Before this discovery, they had only been found at a depth of 8,000 meters. How many more unsolved mysteries remain hidden in this amazing part of the planet? Now it's time for some incomprehensible creatures. Are they plants or animals? Let's find out. The deep sea undoubtedly contains many creepy creatures and strange-looking fish, as well as traces of dramatic shipwrecks. But who knows what is happening on the seabed, in the dark and mysterious places untouched by humans? Let me tell you, among the deep sea dwellers, there are even dangerous trees. This plant is called the Pingpong Tree because it looks like a trunk adorned with white table tennis balls. It sounds quite harmless, but it is actually not a plant, but a carnivorous sponge. Its stem reaches about half a meter in height, and at the top, there is a cluster of these strange balls growing in all directions. They may look fragile and transparent, but these things are deadly. They are covered in tiny spines shaped like hooks that trap any small creature that barely touches them. Once trapped, the victim is forced to remain in the sponge's clutches forever, as the balls slowly digest their prey, molecule by molecule. What do you think? Is this an animal or a plant? Crinoids are bottom-dwelling animals with a sedentary lifestyle. Those attached to the seabed by a stem are often called sea lilies. There are species capable of freely traveling along the bottom in search of food. Fossil remains of crinoids have been found in many places, and they show that the stem holding onto the seabed forms the foundation of the feeding system, a sort of arm. The petals capture food particles, which then linger in the water for a while before heading to the mouth of the feeding system. Most modern crinoids swim freely, also known as feather stars. They simply do not want to stay in one place and do not use the stem attachment when fully grown. Naturally, moving around is much more exciting, although it is often dictated by the current. but they can sometimes even climb to higher ground to feed better. These strange marine creatures do not look entirely alive. It's even odd to see them move like living things. But believe me, they can reach speeds of 3 to 5 centimeters per second, which seems like Formula One speed for such a small, plant-like creature without a distinguishable head or obvious fins. Fossils of sea lilies dating back 480 million years have been discovered, and it seems some of these fossilized versions could survive by attaching themselves to floating debris. Modern crinoids live on rocks and weak ocean currents, and rarely migrate across the abyssal expanses. Surely you are waiting to encounter deep-sea monsters. We have an image, most likely taken during some deep-sea expedition to the remote corners of the Mariana Trench. This is the deepest part of the ocean on the planet, shaped like a crescent and stretching about 2,500 kilometers in length, reaching depths of nearly 11,000 meters. Undoubtedly, all kinds of creatures live there that we have never encountered before. But can we really say that in this photo, we see something resembling a dinosaur? The image shocked the world, and it seems this thing is terribly convincing. What if such creatures lived here before or continue to hide to this day? There is a category of animals that cannot be classified as unicellular but are not jellyfish either. However, their evolutionary results deserve special attention. Comb jellies are a common type of marine animal, but they look very peculiar. Their distinctive feature is the combs made of cilia that they use to swim at depth under great pressure. Their sizes can vary from a few millimeters to 1.5 meters. Interestingly, they provided scientists with special insights into the evolutionary path of other animals, including us. Sounds strange, but this extravagant species is slightly connected to humans. Comb jellies can help researchers study the evolution of the nervous system. Unlike humans, they do not have a brain, but their nerve cells are connected across their bodies like a web. Although they look like jellyfish, they are actually unrelated. These two different types followed completely different evolutionary paths. Today, climate change forces these creatures to struggle for survival. But if they suddenly find themselves in comfortable conditions, they instantly dominate and quickly destroy the diversity of species around them. Quite like humans, right? The giant amphipod, a large and terrifying isopod crustacean. Just look at its size. There is no better character to bring your nightmares to life with new intensity. During the exploration of the Mariana Trench, scientists had their share of horror when they sent traps for samples to the deepest regions. Previously, we had only seen distant relatives of these giant crustaceans, and of course, no one expected to encounter specimens of monstrous scale. In fact, these shrimps are 20 times larger than similar species that inhabit coastal waters, and it's unclear how they manage to live at such depths. Perhaps the point is that shrimp are bottom scavengers, and the larger the other inhabitants, the more massive the ocean's janitors must be to clean up the remains of other animals. Now we come to familiar outlines: octopuses, squids, and other marine creatures. However, they will appear in quite unusual forms. The Dumbo octopus, or Grimpeteuthis, inhabits the deepest and darkest layers of the ocean, with some specimens of this species even found at a depth of 7,000 meters. This means these animals are adapted to life in very cold water without sunlight. The rare Dumbo octopus resembles a blimp with tentacles or a floating mini elephant. Certain behavioral traits help it find a mate and successfully reproduce when options are limited. If the number of candidates is small, creativity is a must. The Dumbo octopus female is very resourceful. When she encounters a male, she accepts his sperm to use when her eggs are ready. You never know when you might find another eligible bachelor 1,000 or more kilometers away in the dark. This unique ability to store collected sperm for a long time after mating allows for planned reproduction. The female regulates the process of successful reproduction. Perhaps these capabilities inspired modern reproductive medicine. Amphitretus. This is the name of the world's only telescopic octopus. This amazing type of deep-sea octopus is found at depths ranging from 150 to 2,000 meters in the tropical and subtropical waters of the Indo-Pacific region. They typically grow up to 20 centimeters in length, and their bodies are so transparent that they are almost invisible in the water. They appear almost glass-like there. The transparent and jelly-like flesh casts virtually no shadow, which could warn predators or prey of their presence. Telescopic octopuses can make nearly their entire bodies invisible, except for their eyes and digestive gland. It is precisely because of their telescopic eyes that this octopus got its name. Its ocular organs are essentially on stalks that protrude from its head. Quite a handy adaptation given their environment. The vampire squid, despite its name, does not seem to be a squid, an octopus, or even a bloodsucker. It is also called the hellish vampire, or even worse, the hellish vampire squid. But it is not a monster. It is merely a small, deep-sea cephalopod that inhabits depths ranging from 600 to 900 meters worldwide at temperatures of about 2 to 3 degrees Celsius. Yes, it is quite cold. It was named a vampire due to its coloring, which resembles Dracula's red and black cloak, and its fins, which give it a bat-like face. Its eyes are genuinely creepy, with a red hue. Unfortunately, vampire squids are on the verge of extinction due to pollution and the destruction of their habitats. Unlike other squids, they do not change their body color or release ink when threatened. Instead, they emit a glowing, sticky mucus that works similarly to confuse potential predators. Remember, not everything frightening comes brightly dressed. Let's move on to unusual fish that can only be found at great and in the greatest depths. The snailfish resembles a snail from the side, a catfish from the top, and a hamburger from the front. It's strange how it manages to survive at such depths. Theoretically, such a design should never survive there, let alone thrive. Scientists studying snailfish believed it was physiologically impossible for a normal fish to live below 8,000 meters. However, researchers from Japan and Australia discovered a snailfish at a depth of 8,336 meters in the Mariana Trench, breaking all previous records. These fish look defiant, but since they usually live in darkness where nothing else exists, what do they care about their appearance? The conger eel, another fish resembling a slug but longer, more akin to an eel. This large fish from the Amphiiform family inhabits complete darkness at extreme depths and is also known as the shrimp fish. It is another contender for the title of the world's deepest living fish. Bony fishes are called eels due to their appearance, but they actually belong to the same group as tuna and perch. Their varieties have existed since the end of the Cretaceous period, and fossilized species were discovered long ago, meaning they are very well adapted to deep-sea life. Congers live in temperate and tropical waters, sticking close to the bottom, also appearing at record depths exceeding 8,000 meters. Another floating blimp, but this time neither an octopus nor a jellyfish, but a barrel-eye fish. It looks very strange, and it seems that the deeper we explore the ocean, the more bizarre marine creatures become. The barrel-eye fish is one such oddity, suitable for a starring role in a science fiction movie. It has a transparent head in the shape of a dome with very sensitive tubular eyes covered by a green liquid shield. This is quite beautiful, but mainly, this eye structure helps it spot prey above, even while swimming in total darkness. It also has a pair of nostrils that could be mistaken for sad eyes and a pointed snout with a small mouth. Its elongated fins help it move while staying almost motionless, and its body contains a set of glowing organs, giving the fish an otherworldly glow. The barrel-eye fish, like a modern submarine, is perfectly adapted to its deep-sea habitat. While other deep-sea animals lack sharp vision, the barrel-eye is perfectly equipped to navigate even in darkness. A great advantage for finding food and avoiding predators. Let's move on to the big and small monsters that belong in the hidden corners of the ocean. The hatchet fish truly resembles a tool for cutting steaks. This deep-sea inhabitant of the tropical and subtropical waters of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans includes about 45 different species, varying in size, with a maximum length of 9 centimeters. They also possess bioluminescent capabilities, a trait shared by many deep-sea creatures. They use it to create counter-illumination to evade predators. When viewed from below, the flat body of the hatchet fish is almost invisible in the water, another element of camouflage. There is also a species of freshwater hatchet fish often kept in home aquariums. But these captivating deep-sea dwellers, shaped like dangerous axe blades, do look intimidating, don't they? The black sea devil, a creepy deep-sea inhabitant, has certainly earned its terrifying name. First, it looks like a proper monster, and second, it displays remarkable cunning to capture its prey, with an antenna at the front of its head that glows in the dark like a light bulb. This distracts its prey. As we know, naive little fish are drawn to light, and there's no escaping the predator's horrible teeth once they get close. These fish have round, gelatinous bodies without scales, enormous heads, and many sharp, long teeth resembling fangs. Some even have spines on their bodies. The black sea devil is also called the anglerfish and primarily lives near the seabed. Its personal light source is essential. Anglerfish are incredibly effective hunters. Their razor-sharp teeth can cut through anything, and their enormous mouths can swallow large pieces of food. Moreover, their mouths can expand like an excavator's bucket. These terrifying sea creatures can swallow prey twice their size. When a marine animal dies, a massive natural cleaning crew goes to work on the remains at the bottom of the ocean. Many bottom dwellers will feast on the carcass of a dead animal for days. The body of a massive whale becomes a feast for thousands of other tiny marine creatures. And it's not so grim. They will clean the remains down to the skeleton, maintaining the balance of nature. The animal world operates on the principle of returning to the circle. To sustain life, whales themselves consume vast amounts of food and later become food for many others. Several different species of whales, including humpbacks, blue whales, and fin whales, feed through a system that involves swallowing large volumes of water along with their prey. They then spout the water back out, retaining the prey inside. They dive to depths of around 200 meters to feed primarily on krill, though these massive mammals are adaptable and also eat other fish. They have a refined technique for getting a satisfying meal. A group of whales surrounds a school of fish, swimming in circles to create a spiral of bubbles that forces the fish into a convenient, dense mass, an easy bundle to swallow in one go. You've likely wondered, if the remains of dead animals are consumed by marine cleaners, who takes care of the skeletons? Surely they don't accumulate in such large quantities at the bottom of the oceans. We have an answer to this question. A type of deep-sea creature endearingly called zombie worms are professionals at cleaning the seabed of bones. They were first discovered at a depth of about 3,000 meters. It's there that they can find the carcasses of dead whales, whose bones they absolutely love devouring, as horrifying as that sounds. But nature is organized in such a way. Everyone has their own food, and everyone enjoys eating what's meant for them. These worms use their unique physiology to penetrate the bones and access the lipids found inside. They feed on the collagen in the bones and drill holes throughout the skeletal structure. Later, they use these holes to hide from potential predators, those we've already seen, flesh eaters who don't care whether a worm is useful or not and might as well gulp it down. Although the fish with the frightening name black dragon reaches only about 15 centimeters in length, it still makes an intimidating impression. In the deep, dark ocean, it truly becomes a sea monster for another tiny creature. Each category has its own monsters. These fierce predators are known for their terrifying jaws and blade-like teeth, which allow them to consume prey almost half their own size. These ghastly teeth and lifeless eyes make the fish quite scary, and what places it firmly in the nightmare category is its ability to be invisible. Only the long appendage extending from its chin glows in the dark, serving as a lure. Waving and blinking, the appendage draws other fish close, where they are instantly caught by its powerful jaws. The teeth of these fish are completely transparent and blend with the water. A true horror, though small in size, it leaves a significant impression. The goblin shark, a dreadful combination of predator and horror movie character. Its terrifying appearance and bloodthirsty behavior have rightly earned it its revolting name. But not all animals should be judged by their looks alone. That would be unfair. Let's find out if these sharks with long, flat noses and a set of very sharp teeth are truly as frightening as they seem. This shark is equipped with a unique hunting feature for deep-sea life. It has a specialized jaw structure. During a lunge, it can protrude its jaws forward to snatch passing prey and then retract its mouth back, prey in tow. Creepy, isn't it? In fact, the long-nosed shark is much lazier than other species. Its sluggish behavior means it's unlikely to expend much energy on high-speed chases. Looking at this strange fish, you will undoubtedly feel disgust and fear. But we're already moving on. Onward! Perhaps the frilled shark has claimed the title of the most terrifying creature of the deep today. This species is essentially a living fossil, which is why it looks so frightening, like a relic from the era of monsters, from the time of dinosaurs. And that's exactly what it is. An ancient species of shark, though very rare, still exists today, occasionally threatening people with its extremely intimidating appearance and shark-like habits. Observing such sharks is an incredibly rare event, and catching one alive is perhaps the only precedent. A typical resident of the deepest parts of the planet was captured alive by fishermen in an Australian lake. It was so unusual that the event made headlines. Imagine that this strange shark, with its frill-like appearance, has existed for at least 80 million years. The frilled shark gets its name from the 6 pairs of gills that make its head look more like an eel or a sea serpent than other sharks. Now let's talk about the largest discovery at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. But it's not a sea creature, it's a sunken ship. This is the story of the world's deepest shipwreck, the American destroyer Johnston, which took part in a major naval battle in Leyte Gulf, located in the Philippine Sea Bay. In October 1944, this battle involved 300 American warships fighting against 70 Japanese vessels, with 1,500 aircraft in the air. Can you imagine the scale? The battle raged in the air, on the water, and underwater. Nearly 30 Japanese ships were sunk during the battle, and most of the others were so damaged they were put out of service. The largest battleship at the time, Yamato, was also among the sunken vessels. The United States lost the destroyer Johnston during this brutal battle. It was struck by shells from the Yamato, but it managed to fight on for another 2 hours before sinking. 186 out of 327 crew members went down with the ship, and for 75 years after the incident, the ship was not seen again. Samar Island, near where the battle took place in the Philippines, lies along a deep-sea trench called the Philippine Trench, which is extremely deep, about 10,500 meters. To illustrate the scale, imagine placing Mount Everest into this trench. Its peak would still be submerged under 1.5 kilometers of water. For comparison, the Titanic, after sinking, rested at a depth of 3,800 meters. The Johnston, a record holder for depth among sunken ships, was found during a special expedition using a submersible at a depth of nearly 6,500 meters. 2/3 of the ship's hull were still intact, and the identification number was clearly visible. This was one of the most dramatic scenes of destruction and sinking in the history of warfare, hopefully the last of its kind. And that's all for today! That concludes our episode on the creepy and mysterious depths. If you enjoyed it and want to see the next part or something similar, write about it in the comments, give us a like, and subscribe to Top Facts for the most incredible collections of facts and videos from across the internet. Thank you for watching, and check out the previous 2 top episodes.